All right, guys, so today we're gonna put your personal plan all together. Now, as you guys can see behind me, we've got all of these different categories of information that are going to be very specific to you. And you guys will be filling this out on your computer or your phone. So we've already talked about the majority of these categories up until this point. And so we're going to start off with our experience level. Now remember, this is referring to our experience level in the gym training. Now me personally, I've been training for a long time, so I'm going to be in that advanced category. Okay, the next one, sex. If I'm a male or female, I'm a male. So that's what I'm going to put in that box. My age, I'm 34 this year, so I'll round up. My height is the next one. It's going to be 6 foot 1 inch. My weight, 195 pounds, soaking wet. My body fat percentage, now I happen to know mine. If you guys have gone and gotten yours taken, you'll be able to put it in here. But remember, this is not absolutely necessary for us to be able to actually work on our personal plan. But if you know yours, be sure to put it in there. And then the next category is lean body mass. Now, what lean body mass is it's your mass subtracting the percentage of body fat that you have. So the way that you find this number is you take your weight and you multiply it by the percentage. So if you've got an iPhone, real easy way to do it, multiply my weight times 10 percentage button equals 19.5. Then what you do is you subtract that number from your weight. So I'm gonna do 195 subtract 19.5, and that gives me my lean body mass of 175.5 pounds. Okay? Now again, if you don't know your body fat percentage, that's okay. Make sure you speak with me personally, and I'll help you figure out how you get this number for yourself, okay? Moving on then, our total daily energy expenditure, we're gonna know from using the website tdeecalculator.net. I remember mine was about 3,300 calories. Now the question that's next on our sheet is, what are our goals? Do we wanna maintain our body weight? Do we wanna be in a surplus, calorically speaking, or do we wanna be in a deficit? Now for me, I wanna maintain. So I'm just gonna circle this on the board. On your guys' homework, you're gonna just enter it in the column next to this question, maintenance, surplus, or deficit. Okay, now based on what we've chosen here, that's gonna give us our recomp total daily energy expenditure. So for me in this instance, since I'm trying to maintain, I'm gonna keep that exactly the same. But let's say I wanted to put on a little bit more muscle. Well, then I'd need to be in a surplus most likely. So remember, a surplus means that we're eating higher or more calories than our total daily energy expenditure requires. So in this case, I would put a 350 surplus on top of my total daily energy expenditure, which would give me a number of 3,650 calories. If I'm gonna be on a deficit, I'll do a 350 calorie deficit. So that would put me right around 2,995 calories. If my math is correct, it might not be. That's why I need one of these. But depending on what your goals are, you're gonna follow this protocol. So I'm gonna stick with maintenance. So my recomp total daily energy expenditure is 3,300 calories. Okay, now we're gonna figure out what our specific macros are for our body type. So based on all this information, now we're gonna go over to the next couple of steps. So the first thing we need to do is understand how many grams of protein do I need to eat? Now there is a lot of controversy about this out there. There's a lot of opinions about this out there. You may have heard of the 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight rule. That was popularized by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Turns out he was pretty close. We know from the best exercise science studies that have been done out there that if you really want to maximize muscular gain, you want to be slightly higher than 1 gram of protein per body pound. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use a range. The range is going to be 1.2 grams to 1.6 grams per pound of lean body mass. So we've got that number right here. I'm gonna add that into my calculations. My lean body mass is 175.5. Then we're gonna multiply that by somewhere in this range. Now, the more lean that you are, the closer you wanna get to here. Okay, if you have a little bit more body fat on you right now, then we're gonna actually go lower, just a little bit lower. And there's a reason for that, which we can talk about in a later video. So for me, I'm gonna go at 1.6, which, if I just use my calculator, 1.6 times 175.5 equals 280.8 grams of protein. Now, that's a lot of protein, right? I just want to be very clear. This is not, life or death situation. This is just giving me a number to shoot for. If I eat, let's say 195 grams to this number, then I know that I'm going to stay within a good range of my overall protein intake to maximize the muscle building process. Remember, we're talking about maximizing. If I don't hit this on a daily basis, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to still gain muscle. Training is the stimulus that drives muscular adaptation, which is a fancy way of saying if you're working out with weights, you're going to get muscles. So this is not a life or death situation, but I'm going to give myself a range of 195 grams of protein to 280 grams of protein. The next step is we want to figure out what percentage of our calories should come from fat. Now, what we're going to do is use another range here. So what I need to do is determine what percentage of my calories are going to be from fat. I'm going to go with 20% on the low end. Now, step 3 is calculate my fat intake. So the formula here is using my recomp total daily energy expenditure, multiplying by 20%, and then dividing that by 9. So let me do that. 3,300 times 20% equals 660. Now that's how many calories. Now the 9, maybe you guys remember why that number's there, but for every 1 gram of fat, we have 9 calories. So this gives us how many calories, and this is going to give us how many grams after we divide it by 9. So this equals 73.33. Okay, so if I give myself a range of eating between 65 and let's say 80 grams, I'm giving myself a little bit of wiggle room there. I like that. Feel free to give yourself some wiggle room as well. The next step that we have to figure out is we have to calculate the remainder of our calories, because we've already figured out how many grams of protein we're going to go for and how many grams of fat we're going to go for. So for this, we need to pick a number, and we'll work on a range later on. So in order to figure out this, I'm going to take my protein grams and multiply it by 4. So what I'll do is I'll split this down the middle, and I'll just give myself a solid 225 grams multiplied by 4. That's 900 calories coming from protein. Okay, now I need to pick a fat gram and multiply that by 9. So I'm going to split my range down the middle again. I'll go to 72 grams and I will multiply that by 9, which gives me 648 calories. Adding these two together gives me a total calorie count of 1,548. So the way that I get my remaining calories is I subtract this from that, and that'll give me my remainder of my calories, which is 1,752. So that's how many calories now that I can fill up with carbohydrates. So what I'm going to do is take the remaining calories and divide it by 4. Remember, for every 1 gram of carbohydrate, we have 4 calories. So my remaining calories is 1,752. I'm going to divide it by 4, and that gives me my total carbohydrates, which is 438. Now, again, just like I did with my fat and my protein, I'll give myself a range. So my range will be somewhere in the 400 to 450 grams of carbohydrates for me every day. Now that's definitely a lot, but remember, I'm different than you and you're different than me. We all have different needs. So even if you're not good at math, you can do this, because I'm not good at math and I did it, and I hope it helps y'all.